the anti-checker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulties.
Hello, world.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Oh, man. So, hey, everybody. Michael J. Crawford, the anti-checker here. Forgive me if I sound a little off-key today. The knee really feels like it's on fire. I actually put a call into my doctor's office because I'm concerned that there could be an infection going on in there, and so I don't, that's the worst thing, the last thing that we want. So, yeah, it's just been a rough few days. So Jason says first, John the Ford President says hi, Schromer says greetings, Thomas says hi. Jason, by the way, congratulations on beating out Thomas. Thomas, you were fourth today. What the heck? You're slacking. Total Anthony, hey, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Says, hey, Auntie. Schromer says, almost first. Schromer says, greetings, fellow nerds. Jason says, howdy, anti-checker. Alpaca, everyone. Okay. This is my world. Hi. Wow, this is my world, huh? So the whole world belongs to you? Seriously? Dang. And so, Death Dealer's in the house says, Anti-checker, I saw your stream pop up and I'm working on a Star Trek animation. I'm recreating the Battle of Wolf 359. Very cool. Although, here's the thing. Depending on how you create the Battle of Wolf 359, are you going to do it in the style of Deep Space Nine with starships buzzing around like fighters? Or are you going to do it more in the style of like Star Trek 2, where ships are these huge, slow-moving tugboat kind of things? Personally, I prefer the Star Trek 2, but I'm just curious. BIRDOPREY says, Kapla, how you doing, Joe? And Dan's telling Jason he's just not fast enough. Well, actually, Jason was fast enough this time, Dan. This is my world says, I'm Korean. Ah, very cool. Well, welcome from Korea, my friend. And so, very cool. Now, I assume you're not North Korean, in which case your username could give away who you really are. I mean, you're not the leader of North Korea, are you? Just making sure. Josh says, the first Turtistan infomercial ever is being played at the start of an anti-checker stream. Not sure what you mean there. Tez says, what happened? Did they release a new short track? Well, they released a new short track, I believe it was on Friday. That clip that you saw when I was starting the live stream with Spock laughing is from that short track. And yes, that moment, in my opinion, and I was talking to the guys over at Midnight's Edge, they kind of agree with me. And so far, I think pretty much everybody's in agreement. That is officially the moment that Star Trek died. That they literally made Spock break out into song and sing, not under the influence of drugs, not under the influence of mind control or spores or anything like that. He just decided, what the heck, I feel like singing some good old musical theater. And it just, yeah, it just hurt. And what'd you say now, Mary? Because I'm right now doing a live stream. Anyway, it's, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. Dang it, so close. And Stephen Mims throws $100 into the chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Says medical bills suck. Oh boy, do they ever. Keep on keeping on. Here's mine into the pot. Thank you so much, my friend. That means more than I can say, because I will tell you, on this whole knee thing, we have spent upwards of, gosh, probably at least a few $1,000s, and it's money that we did not have to spare. So it's been a very rough couple of months. So thank you to all of you that have continued to support the channel, even though I've been incapable of producing any kind of decent content. Although me and Mr. Miles have been talking about some stuff that I think will actually be good, even though it's on a tragic subject. And Thomas throws his $1.99 in, says, "No more laughing, Spock. It's driving me crazy." Number 22. Sorry, I know. So, we might have to do something with that laughing Spock, I think, and merging it with number 22, actually. There you go. Thank you, Thomas. I do appreciate it. Dan got the notification. Good news. Anti-Trekker. I assume you mean anti-Trekker. Hey, Valor. When you lost faith in Star Trek, is that how one knows that Trek is now completely dead? Well, to me, it's like, it's not that I lost faith in Star, because obviously I've had zero faith in the Alex Kurtzman brand of Trek for some time. But I was of the mindset that, hey, you know what? Star Trek can still bounce back. All we need is to get somebody who knows and respects the source material back in charge, and Star Trek can definitely bounce back. But now they've made this crap from Discovery actual canon. And let me see if I can get that ready for you, because I know that you guys all love this. This is now official Trek canon.
Short in matters, vegetable, animal, and mineral. You are the very model of a modern Major General.
Yeah. That happened. And so it's like, how do you bounce back from that? They literally just ruined Spock's character. They absolutely just destroyed his character. Now, I know that some people will argue that Spock has smiled in the past. Note the cage. And yes, when the character Spock was not completely developed, he did have a little bit more emotional side to him, like in the cage, as well as in Where No Man Has Gone Before. Spock tend to speak with a raised tone of voice, where you deflectors at full intensity, sounding like a military person, which, interestingly enough, they played on that at the beginning of this short trek, where when Spock first beams onto the Enterprise, he speaks like that to number one, and she immediately tells him, hey, you don't have to shout. And so he goes, for the most part, back to his normal Spock demeanor. However, while the funny thing is that there have been two major instances that people can cite where Spock displayed an outward, all-out positive feeling emotion, and so those two moments were in the cage, when Spock and Pike were on the alien planet and looking at the alien foliage, and he smiled, and in the episode Amok Time, when Spock thought he had killed Kirk, and as it turned out, Kirk was alive and well. In both of those instances, Spock straight up smiled, was extremely ecstatic about what was going on, and then quickly regained his composure. And so people might say, well, what's the difference? There's a couple of differences here. One, in both of those other scenes, it was, well, particularly like the scene with Pike, it was the spirit of scientific discovery, that Spock had found this new species of plant that put out these sounds and stuff, and he found it utterly fascinating. And Spock is, of course, at his core, a scientist, and he absolutely he finds, and this is nothing inconsistent with Spock's character, he feels almost driven to seek out knowledge. And when he finds knowledge, that's very gratifying to him. And in that particular case, while the character hadn't been fully developed, that's why they did it on the screen. The logical explanation within the series is that, well, he hadn't really gained that level of control. Now, you could argue that that's the state Spock was in here, but this wasn't over some scientific discovery or some incredible tragedy like the loss of his best friend that he then suddenly found out was untrue. This was just, hey, I like that song. Let's sing it. And then they sing it. No. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Una's an Irish name. It brings shame to the nation to be soiled with association to STD. Well, Stromer, I'm sorry. This is My World says, racist isn't here? Not sure what you mean there. BIRDOPREY says, spreading fake news about Krogan genital policies. I'm not sure what you mean there, Bird. What there's fake news about what Krogan genital policies? Oh, you mean the fact that all your men are eunuchs. Okay, are they volunteers for that then? Is that what you're trying to say? So nice to have how YouTube just signs me out. Oh man, I hate that. There are times when I've had live streams where I've been watching the live stream, and in the course of like 20 minutes, it signs me out like 4 or 5 times. I don't know why YouTube does that sometimes. Stephen Mims says, hey, how you doing, Stephen? Which I know I already said hi to you because of that crazy super chat, but thank you, my friend. Dan23 says, Una, yes, Una is in fact the name of number 1. That was revealed in this short trek, that her name is Una. Wow, how original to have someone who's always been known as number 1. That would be like if Riker, if we never heard Riker's first name, we only heard him called, Commander Riker or number 1 by Picard. And then we finally get the big reveal, and number 1's first name is 1. That seriously, that would be how stupid this is. I'm Korean and Asian. Well, isn't Korean Asian? But welcome. And I mean, I don't know if you draw a distinction there, but at least as far as I understand, Korean is Asia is all of that region of the world. So you are Asian if you are Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Cambodian, Laos, etc. But Korean is just your specific nationality. But are you saying you're Korean and mixed with something else, or you're just Korean and you happen to be in Asia? But anyway, this is my world. Welcome in either case. Cinnabon says, good morning, how you doing? Josh Street says, Andrew, the only thing missing was TOS Ghost Spock in the background crying about the death of Star Trek. Yeah. And Joshua's working on an animation about this debacle. Dan says, I hate it when YouTube randomly quits. Do you have to turn it back on? Yes, that's yep. And BIRDOPREY says, the knee is on fire. Yes, it is, man. It's funny because if I touch right where the incision was, it actually feels like it's radiating heat right there, and that's not a good thing. Cinnabon says, first, John, the former peasant, says, I think that may be redundant to This Is My World. Oh, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Azine says, good day. How you doing, Azine? Sorry I'm behind in the chat already, but yeah, I'm just not feeling it today. BIRDOPREY paid the doctors to cause you pain. Well, he did an excellent job then. I will tell you, he absolutely is killing my foots here. Total Anthony says, this was the first notification I've had for your live streams for a good while. Well, I'm glad you got one. I know the YouTube notification system has been inconsistent at best. One thing you can do is if you go over to antitrekker.com, you can get notifications from that website so that you have a backup in case if you want to join the live streams. Mr. Cap says, Andrew, I don't know if there was a moment in that clip that was touching. We see young Spock struggling with humanity and Vulcan personally in an uncomfortable new environment and a caring... it says, I don't know, there was a moment in that clip that was touching. We see a young Spock struggling with humanity and Vulcan personally in an uncomfortable new environment and a caring Una. Well, I'm not saying the short trek was entirely bad, Mr. Captain. There were moments in the short trek where, honestly, with a little bit of a rewrite, this could be a good, solid short trek. However, the problem is this short trek exists for two reasons only. And don't kid yourself. This is why this episode exists. And if you watch the episode with this mindset, you will understand it. Number one, to establish that Una, number one, is in fact the only person in the universe as capable, as smart, and as competent as Michael Burnham. All right, so because here's the thing. A lot of people, BIRDOPREY wants to know, can I bring space engineers up on the PC behind me? I suppose I can. Is it, let me see. You got to make me do this while I'm in the middle of a freaking live stream, Bird. Yeah, it looks like it's a blank screen right now. And it does that sometimes. So I'll have to restart the server in order to get it up on the screen. When it does that, I've seen it do that once or twice before. My understanding is the game is probably still running, but I can't access the game. And so everybody, and Bird, if you're in the game, let everybody know. Get out of the game. I'm going to restart it in just a few minutes. Let's see. But anyway, so the reason they do this is they basically show up. Oh, okay, I got a call coming in. It's probably my doctor's office. So give me just a minute, guys, and I will be right back.
Oh, what is this? A female of the skunk persuasion. She is so stunning, I must...
Hey, what are you doing? Stop objectifying that cat.
What is this? She is Le Cat? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not know.
Oh, what? Because she's a cat, she's not good enough for you?
No. But we are not even the same species, so...
Oh, so now you're cat shaming.
No. I am just...
Get him! Oh, so objectifying women and cat shaming is not bad enough? Now you have to make fun of the disabled? Jeez.
The board vessel's moving into range.
On screen.
Let's get lost in that magic place all alone now. Drink your fill from my fountain of love, wet your lips. I'm a man, I'm a teaser, I'm a man, well I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a one-night stand, a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a dream, I'm a dream divine, make love together.
He's dead.
There we go. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, while that was the hospital trying to get my opinion on how well they treated me when we went to the ER. It was not my doctor, who I'm hoping to hear back from. So, on with the countdown. Anyway, so there's Stephen Mims' $100 super chat. Thank you again, Stephen. Holy crap, that was so generous. And thank you. Yes, that will indeed be going towards the medical bills. BIRDOPREY says, wow. Bradley says, holy fack. See what I did there. And I'm just going to read the ones addressed to me for a couple minutes because I'm so far behind. I apologize, guys, but you know, that's what always ends up happening. Death Dealer says, just realized they stole the idea of sending Burnham and the disco to the future from Andromeda. That's what somebody else said. I haven't seen Andromeda, so I don't know. Darren says, morning, what's up this morning? Oh, man, Darren, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Mr. Miles says, wrench me, unsubbing. You have your wrench, Mr. Miles. Unfortunately, I haven't given you much work to do with the wrench. And Captain Spire throws $5 in. Thank you so much. With all STD takes from the classics, I'll bet they will never take cues from Uhura's line from the Savage Curtain or the end of Bread and Circuses. Of course not. Of course not. And especially anything that suggests, number one, that religious tolerance is a good thing, or that, you know, or like even look at freaking Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. The fact that racism is a double-edged sword in that episode. They're never going to touch on anything like that. No, they're just going to continue white men bad. And what they're trying to do with this short trek is to establish with their white men bad rules that, don't worry, white men are still bad. Spock and Pike are incompetent fools next to number one. Guarantee you that's what's going to happen. And I'm so effing done with that. Darth Maul's in the house. How you doing, my friend? This is My World says I'm South Korean. Just making sure. Just making sure. Dan23 says Tuvok sings in Voyager Season 2 episode Innocence. Okay. Did he have good reason for it? I don't remember that episode off the top of my head. I see Real Ryan Johnson is a new movie out with an ensemble cast. Kind of reminds me of Clue. It actually does remind me of Clue. But yeah. I don't plan on seeing it. Oh no, Spock singing that song is just wrong. Yeah, it absolutely was. Darren says, fans can reject the work of Secret Hideout. It's easy, just don't participate. Well, that's true. I do encourage people, if you're not compelled, like some of us, to watch Trek, or if you are not doing this for review purposes or something like that, just walk away. Just freaking walk away. You know that people like myself, Nerdrotic Doomcock, and others will let you know when Star Trek is worth watching again. So yes, I agree with you on that, Darren. Mr. Miles says Spock was also emotional in This Side of Paradise, but that was due to, I think, spores, wasn't it? Dun dun dun. Yes, This Side of Paradise, there were spores involved, and that's why I say this. The thing that really is like gets to you about that Spock breaking out in song is that he's not under the influence of spores or alien mind control or some crap like that. John DeMarco says, even a mock time when he saw Kirk alive, you could say he was still recovering from Pon farr. Yes, absolutely. Thundercats Ho says, next short trek, Spock does a comedy routine sketch for 10 minutes, followed by a drunken sing-along. Oh, man. I think the next short trek is supposed to come out today, isn't it? I hope that's not... Oh, man. Darth Maul says, you know, when they called her Una, they said it's logical. Of course they did, which they were wrong. But yeah, I think calling her Una was just ridiculous. Peter says, evening, anti-trekker and all. Hey. Mr. Miles says, well, we did sort of find out that Homer Simpson's middle initial J stood for J, lol. That's sort of like Una and number one. That's true. But the difference is Homer Simpson is also portrayed as a complete idiot, and everything about him is stupid. And so, and it's a comedy, and it's played for laughs, right? This is not a comedy. Well, it is, but not an intentional comedy. Naming number one Una is like changing Sherlock to be Holmes's middle name and changing his first name to see no shit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I can never pronounce your name. McDerpington says the YouTube news keeps getting better. All pop culture channels not associated with legacy media are going to be demonetized and deplatformed in December, last I heard. Oh, they've been demonetizing and deplatforming a lot of crap, and yeah, it's really, really annoying. Because it's like channels like me, they're purposely hurting for no, and it's not going to help them. all it will do is ruin the lives of countless thousands of YouTube content creators. And all we're doing is talking about stuff that, like, pop culture, right? The problem is, and where YouTube, the reason they're doing this crap is they're trying to manipulate the public perception of good and bad, namely that they're trying to push the agenda that Star Trek Discovery is trying to push. Therefore, they need to shut up people like me that will openly speak out against Star Trek Discovery. So, you know. Admiral Saval's in the house, says, yo, how you doing, Admiral? Wesley says, greeting nerds and turds, how's it going? Hurts. Dan23 says, the Nickelodeon Star Trek show won't talk down to its younger audience. Yeah, I believe that. Christopher says, that was funny as F. If you're talking about the Spock scene, yeah. Who gave $100 super chat? That would be Steven. He's the man. And Steven says yes twice for some reason. I was the last one on the server when I just logged out. Okay, Bert, thank you. I will restart it as soon as I play another super chat reward. Dan23 says the Nickelodeon Kids Star Trek there will be a 3D animated show and it will probably suck. Just saying. And there's Captain Spire's $5 super chat. Thank you again, Captain. With all STD takes from its classics, I bet you will never take cues from Uhura's line from the Savage Curtain at the end or the end of Bread and Circuses. Well, of course not. Like I said, they're not going to do anything that doesn't fit into the modern, progressive, Google, left-wing Hollywood elitist narrative. That's what it's got to be all about now. If it's not part of that, then they need to silence it. And the scary thing is that they're doing it. Google has successfully built, and I think intentionally, built an empire where they control the flow of information for the entire globe almost. And so now that they can control the information, they can start to change the narrative. And in fact, a classic song by Depeche Mode describes it perfectly. The song was called Princess Di, and the chorus of the song said, you can't change the world, but you can change the facts. And when you change the facts, you change points of view. And when you change points of view, you may change a vote. And when you change a vote, you may change the world. And that is exactly what Google's marketing plan is right now. Let's see. All right, Amtrak, survey on your visit. Yeah, I hate those. Yeah. The Nickelodeon Kids Star Trek is expected to air sometime after 2021. It's going to be the Star Trek series explicitly aimed at a younger audience. Yeah. Because, you know, I think that what they're trying to figure out what the best way to incorporate Klingon rape scenes and lots of four-letter words into it is going to be. Wesley says, you made it up the stairs again. That's good. Well, I did make it up the stairs. I've gotten it down to a system. Getting up and down the stairs is now relatively doable. But the leg is swelling up like a frickin' ham. So I need to get back to the doctor, but I'm waiting to hear from them. Got a text from the ER the other day. I would recommend, if it's your choice emergency, I'd recommend, as if there's a choice in an emergency, it's the closest in 30 minutes. Yeah, you don't pick and choose what ER you go to. You go to whatever's closest. Let's see, any progress here? Sorry for keep checking my phone. Oh, thank you. Mrs. Anti-Trekker corrected me. The name of that Depeche Mode song is New Dress, because it goes, Princess Di is wearing a new dress, because they're talking about how the media focused in on Princess Diana's fashion rather than the real world issues going on. And Google is doing that same kind of thing. They're changing the narrative, folks. They are actually doing it. And it's scary because, you know, if you start talking about it, freaking Google sounds like a James Bond villain. The fact that in the future we do not need to fear words. Yes, that is a wonderful line from Uhura and Savage Curtain. Wealthy Gunman says, hey, Trigger, how's it going? I'm here. That's a good thing. Christopher says, hey, Trigger, when I saw the reviews of the short bus trek, I threw up a little, and then a lot. And then when I learned how, when will they learn how stupid can you be is not a challenge? Yeah, well, they definitely rose to that challenge. I will tell you, that one blew me away. I did not think that they would take it to that level. I must admit, I was surprised. If this white man bad agenda continues, we might just end up with a resurgence of the 80s style manly men doing manly things in a manly way, being manly movies. Eventually, yes, because what will happen is, I mean, Hollywood is going to collapse very, very quickly. If Hollywood keeps putting out bad movies, and because here's the funny thing. So this year, we had Avengers Endgame set the all-time box office record. We also have The Joker doing very impressive numbers here for October. We've had a couple of mega hits this year. And this is one of the lowest box office years, especially when you adjust for inflation. It's one of the lowest box office years ever. Hollywood is struggling right now. Disney is pumping out a lot of hits, but everybody else is really sucking. Now, the thing is that is directly because of what Hollywood has been doing for the last couple of decades, and Hollywood is completely blind to it. They think that there's this evil group of racists hiding in a basement somewhere and plotting against them and everything, and that's the reason for their problems. But if there's just a few people hiding in their parents' basements that won't go to these movies because they're racist or misogynist or whatever, then why is it that the movies are tanking? Unless those creepy people living in their parents' basements and plotting against everybody are the bulk of your audience. And if they are, well then you're going to go broke. Valor says they did this to ruin Spock because many hate STD and many dislike Mikey Spock. I agree. I think what they're trying to do is to make sure that even, because like a lot of us wanted to see a Pike Spock series come out after Discovery Season 2 because we actually liked Pike and Spock. We just didn't like most of the rest. And so, but this is a way to make it so that, oh no, you're just going to get more of the same if we do a Pike Spock series, because we're just going to make number one the new Michael Burnham. And so that when, Pike and Spock will be pushed to the background. Marlena says, do you like eggplants? You would have to ask that. It was disturbing to see how they wrote number one in this short trek and how Pike only had 2 lines of dialogue. I felt really bad for Ensign Mount. Well, as far as it made sense in terms of story. If the focus of the story was the Q&A, was the idea that Spock and number one, and think about it, the premise of this episode was actually a decent one. Spock beams onto the Enterprise for the first time. Number one is bringing him to the bridge. They get on the turbo lift. The turbo lift breaks down, so now they have time to kill. And so Q&A time. This would give us a great opportunity to learn about the character of number one. Why? Because while number one appeared in a couple of episodes of season 2, she didn't really do anything to establish any kind of character. So here's our chance to do something focused in on her so we can see what she's all about. And instead of that, they just decide to use it to try and make her look like she knows everything. And that, it's horrible. It is truly, truly horrible. However, in terms of story, it makes sense because if the focus of the story, I see BIRDOPREY is. If you're restarting the computer, awesome. I will log in as soon as it comes back up. So thank you, Bird, since I can only do so much at a time. I would say, Bird, just restart the whole system. Anyway, and Thundercat says, while the wound feeling warm after surgery is normal, keep your eye on any potential infection. Warmth can be an indication that your body is fighting something in that area of your body. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not that the wound feels warm. It's that it's actually the area, like right where the implant is, feels downright hot, while everywhere around it just feels warm. So you can definitely tell that there's heat radiating from the actual site of the surgery. And that's not a good thing. And so I'm still waiting to hear back from my doctor's office. Wesley said, will you watch The Rise of Skywalker for us? If you don't make it home alive, I will know how bad it is. I plan on seeing Rise of Skywalker. Mrs. Anti-Trekker knows that she's going to have to see it with me. It's going to be a painful experience, probably. However, I'm the optimist in me is still hoping that J.J. Abrams pulls off a miracle. Death Dealer says, also, I saw on Twitter, for anyone who knows the game Hearthstone, one of their top players was suspended for being in favor of the Hong Kong protests. What? How does that make any sense? Hearthstone is a freaking video game, so who cares what your political opinions are when it comes to the current situation in Hong Kong, right? I don't know all the details of the Hong Kong protests. I know they're going on, but if somebody is for the protests or against the protests, does not change their ability to play Hearthstone. So that does not make any sense. Slithering Peanut says, to be fair, number one originally was an enhanced human from the original plot and not supposed to be canon. It was not supposed to be canon? What do you mean not supposed to be canon? I mean, I know she was originally going to be enhanced, but they never got into that. However, but the thing is that even if she is, fine, then establish that. But to just have her know everything, well, no, and this is the same problem you have with Michael Burnham. If you have a character that knows everything, why are any other characters necessary? Seriously, why are any other characters necessary? And I see it looks like Bird rebooted the computer, so it'll probably need me to log in. Give me just a second here. All right, Bird. And let's see. And sorry to hear about your new issue. Hopefully it'll get solved quickly. Yeah, I hope so. But it's right now just waiting for the call back from the doctor's office. That can be very frustrating. Small Yoda says, in the meantime, we can support great shows like The Orville and The Expanse. Absolutely. The Expanse comes season 4 comes out in December. Orville coming in mid-2020. Looking forward to both. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to Expanse Season 4. I am very much looking forward to Orville Season 3. So at least, while it pains me to say Star Trek is dead, I can be encouraged that in the aftermath of the death of Trek, we still have good sci-fi to enjoy. And here's the thing. So you guys know, a lot of you know that my car got totaled recently, and we had to get our new vehicle, which is a white SUV, and I plan on putting decals on the side to make it look compliant with the Federation shuttles. And I actually got, how there's always branding on the back of a car, like it'll say Ford or Chevy or whatever, and it'll have the name of the model of the car and that kind of thing. So, and sometimes like with Chevy, or not Chevys, but like with Dodge, it'll say Hemi because it's a Hemi engine. Or on a Ford, it'll say EcoBoost because it's an EcoBoost engine. So I got this for our vehicle. I haven't put it on there yet, but now it's like I almost don't want to. And that's just Bird getting back into the game. All right, and that is this. I love this. So I was going to put this on the back of my car, but now I'm like actually doubting whether I should do it or not. That's depressing. And let's see. Captain Spy says, it's like making the Doomsday Machine into the improbability drive. You can't take a serious looming threat and make it into a joke. Yep. Well, they can. So the new Picard teaser entry of Riker and Troy acquired Kirk's cabin. It certainly looks like it. Next short trek is The Trouble with Edward, which airs October 10th. Okay, so I was 2 days off. So goody, October 10th. That will be a great night. Dr. Alex says, hello. How are things? Have the shorts smeared Trek with more STD? Let me tell you, Dr. Alex, they've killed it. Star Trek is now dead, and I will show you because I gotta keep spreading the pain here. Watch this, Dr. Alex.
Matters vegetable, animal, and mineral. You are the very model of a modern Major General.
So yes, Spock at number 1, singing in a turbo lift. Yep, that happened. That actually happened. And it looks like Bird got the server back up and running. Thank you, Bird. And let's see. Wesley says, as a Star Wars fan, I refuse to watch Rise of Skywalker in theaters. I don't blame you. I will, but I will because I do this channel more than any other reason. T-Berg says, have you checked in on the anti-server astronaut lately? Have you checked in on the anti-server astronaut lately? He's negotiating. Well, it looks like he's just floating outside the restaurant right now. Steven says, I was responding to the Lore Reloaded video when you were on the phone. I love that one. Oh, gosh, Steven. I'm trying to remember because there were so many videos that I did with Lore. So I don't remember which one, what we were talking about. Klingons do not take prisoners. Oh, except for when they do. Captain MKG says, May 20th, 2003 was the day Nemesis was released on home DVD, the day I consider the death of Trek. I can see that, but you know what? I think that I was hoping for a revival. And through all this crap, I was really hoping. Is Google the one world government? You know what? They could be. I tell you, they're trying to. Google is literally trying to take over the world. That is exactly what they are all about. And my God, I hope that they fail. One of the very interesting things to me is STD doesn't know what it wants to be. Season 1 was Battlestar Galactica. Season 2 was like JJ Trek. Season 3 is Andromeda. Yeah, we'll see. And who knows? But Season 2, at the very least, Season 2 was an improvement on Season 1. It just still... The problem is that all the stuff that you introduced in Season 1, namely Michael Burnham, the stupid technology, all the canon violations, all that's still a problem. MLP, nor did they suicide bomb their enemies. Klingons? Nope, not generally. Discovery pilot, there were books in Georgiou's captain's office, and they had titles of TOS episodes written on them. I never noticed that. Never, ever noticed that. I'm going to have to look again now. Love the jerky. Awesome, Admiral Saval. You should give Darren a pat on the back. It came from his brother. Star Trek for kids. Always nice to hear. We'll have some ultra violence and a bit on the whole in and out. Yeah, that's what we're gonna get. And let's see. Darren says it's sad to me that the only new character featured in the Picard trailer was Samurai Vulcan. We don't need another Vulcan character. We had 3 Spocks, T'Pol, Saval, and Tuvok already. Actually, my understanding is that is actually Samurai Romulan, not Vulcan. And CDH says, an alternative theory, Anti-Tracker, Google is trying to make YouTube more advertiser-friendly, and advertisers hate controversy. Oh, sure. But you know what? Here's the problem. It's not going... So right now, I don't know what the actual number is. I'll just make up some numbers. Right now, let's say that you have 1 million content creators creating 500,000 videos every single day on YouTube. I know it's actually probably more than that, but I'm just throwing numbers out there. Now, you have some content creators that might put out 1 video a month. You have some content creators that might put out 5 videos a day. But, you know, we'll just average it out. We have 1 million content creators and 500,000 videos every single day. And some advertisers are getting a little skittish about advertising, although most of the videos you're able to advertise on perfectly fine. So in order to make it more advertiser friendly, you take of those 1 million YouTube content creators, you now cut out 900,000 of them's ability to advertise at all. And so now you only have 100,000 advertiser friendly content creators. And so between them, they're only producing, say, 75,000 videos every day. How are you going to make more money with a model like that? Because the vast majority of YouTube videos are not from these uber corporate channels. They're from smaller channels like mine. And YouTube makes a ton of money off of small channels like mine. And you know what? I'm sorry, but are we going to censor everything now just based on what advertisers want? So does that mean that Burger King and McDonald's get to decide what is appropriate in our society? Or are we going to simply allow them, as it has always been with television and film and all that, for them to advertise on something they think will be popular just because they think it'll be popular? If they don't want to have anything to do with it because they think, ooh, if we dare support anything that supports, I don't know, Donald Trump, oh my God, that'll be horrible. It'll kill our business. So you say, oh no, we don't want to support that. Okay, fine. Then what ends up happening? The few companies that do openly support those make bank. Look at freaking Chick-fil-A. All right, Chick-fil-A is like one of the only restaurant chains in the country that is openly a Christian company. And while in some cities they don't do so well, I will tell you, in the southern United States, every Chick-fil-A has a line of cars going around the block trying to get their dang chicken sandwiches, which while they're okay, they're not that spectacular. But the reason is because they're the only ones willing to say, F you, we're going to believe in what we believe in, and, you know, screw this whole political correctness crap. Dr. Ox says, Kitty Cartoon Trek might win with a Rory Award for most gratuitous use of the word fork in a children's program. Yeah, you're probably right. Dan23 says, Antrick, one of the more recent royal weddings, the media focused more on one of the guests because he was looking hideous or ridiculous. That's, yeah, because their hat was looking hideous. That's stupid. Death Dealer says, not basement, hiding in the White House. Oh, yeah, of course. Because, yeah, Donald Trump by himself is responsible for the failure at the box office of these crap movies. In Star Trek's future, if you're supposed to be tolerant, does that mean you automatically just get on with people around you all the time? Well, no, you see, that depends on who's writing. They try to say that in the future, tolerance means that everybody is a social justice warrior, and that's why everybody gets along. Small Yoda says, Tom Cruise's Top Gun 2 will be out in 2020. I enjoy many Tom Cruise action movies, the Mission Impossible series, Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow, etc. Could he be the new Arnold Schwarzenegger? Well, he has been a megastar. I don't think he's going to be the new anything, though, because I think his career is winding down, to be honest. But I do like him. Herpes says, actual racists will never deny their racism. That's actually kind of true, too. Most true racists will admit that they are racist if you confront them with the definition of what racist means. I've had that conversation with people, and they say, sure, call me a racist. I don't care. But they'll say that, you know, that doesn't make it wrong or whatever. What they did to Spock now, I don't want Pike Spock series with these writers. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I think they did that just to set the stage for a potential Pike Spock series, to make sure that they made it clear that, don't worry, there's still a woman that will be the superior character. Darren says, oh man, now you're hating on eggplants. I'm not hating on eggplants. I'm just hating on that stupid question, which in there, yeah, Spock asked number one if she likes eggplants for some reason. Answer, what bothers me the most about the short treks is written by the new showrunner for Picard. That's not a good sign at all. Picard has the potential to be worse. That's, you see, and that is scary. You're right, Mr. Miles. In that, since this was written by the new showrunner Picard, is this an example of how Picard is going to be written? Is this an example of the slant that Picard is going to have? If so, yes, Picard could end up being worse than Star Trek Discovery. And Dan says, one of the worst movie trailers recently is Birds of Prey. Absolutely, that was a horrifyingly bad trailer. It looks like an absolute train wreck of a film. Herpes says, if I remember correctly, I recommended 40K to you a while ago. Cancel that recommendation. They just committed suicide by Disney. I'm sorry, Herpes. Tom says, your computer is haunted. No, that would be Bird of Prey. And let's see. Bird of Prey says, son of a bitch, I started restarting my computer. Okay. Why did you do that? And what's the point in telling me that? Disney's Descendants 3, which only saw the trailer because it was a YouTube advert that could not be skipped. Also horrible. I didn't see anything for that. Oh, I see. You started restarting your computer instead of mine. That's funny. Oh, sorry, Bird. You know, Kurogan Tech. Remember to restart the electric fences. Yeah. Let's see. Wow, where... Sorry, the chat jumped because I'm so far behind. Okay. Why Pike was not in the short? I'm just imagining all the Enterprise bridge. Captain, we have another episode. Pike opens up the comm and says, all hands, I ain't touching this one. Well, Pike does appear at the end of that episode, just for a minute. And here's the stupidest thing about the episode. Well, okay. The stupidest thing as far as the plot of the episode. The worst moment of the episode, of course, I've shown you a couple times, was actually Spock singing. But then, here's the thing. So they're getting on the turbo lift, heading to the bridge. The turbo lift breaks down. They eventually have some mountain climber lady rescue them from the turbo lift. And then you see number one come onto the bridge. Or, I'm sorry, Spock come onto the bridge. And number one is already on the bridge at her station. And Pike had no idea that number one and Spock had met. And number one and Spock play coy like they didn't know who the others were. Huh? Then why did she go to the transporter room to meet with him as he beamed onto the ship? And why wouldn't Pike know that if one of his new officers was coming on the ship and his first officer was going to greet him? What? Disney doesn't want people who remember Anakin killing younglings in episode 3. Yeah, I can see that. Let's see. Darren says, Hearthstone is huge in China. It probably had to do with money. I'm sure it did, but come on. Wasn't number one originally kind of like a Vulcan in that she had limited emotional displays but heightened intellect? Roddenberry eventually transferred those qualities to Spock. Yes, but you see, as far as canon is concerned, we just knew number one was somewhat stoic. And that she was, I think, as Pike said, she was the most experienced officer on the Enterprise. But that's really about all we knew about her. We also knew, though, from the Telosians probing her mind, that she maintained a barrier, an emotional barrier between her and other people. But that she found Pike to be hot. So, yeah. Dan says, I also saw a trailer for Zoolander 2 starring Woody Harrelson. Do you like that? The level of zombie stuff on TV or film? I assume you mean Zoolander 2. No, that would be, I think you mean Zombieland 2. Zoolander 2 is, Zoolander's that fashion designer dude. But anyway, Zombieland, I personally, as far as the zombie genre, don't care about it that much. I think it's coming, and it's been overdone, and I'm done with zombies. I hope Orville gets 7 seasons and a movie. I would be down with that. Orville was canceled. Just ask BIRDOPREY. Well, that's true. Yeah. Dan Twixie, apparently the cabin in the Picard trailer was also in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and other films. I thought it looked familiar, but I haven't really done a breakdown yet, so that does kind of make sense. Enter, about Trek being dead. Can it be that we are simply too old and not flexible enough to understand the bending of canon? Sure, that's possible. Maybe it's just dead to me because I'm old. However, that's... Maybe I am the one that's the problem. Maybe I am just the archaic dinosaur. Maybe I'm the misogynist pig. Maybe I'm the racist whatever. That's the problem. I will accept that is possible. Larry says hello. How you doing? Thomas says, I guess the next short is with the Tribbles. Yeah. Use Orville shuttle aesthetics for the truck instead. And yes, it's dead, Jim. I know. I considered that, but the Orville stuff just isn't. I mean, I like it, but it's not as good. Let's see. BIRDOPREY says, can you press F6? I can't seem to do it via the control software. Let me get to the game. And F6. I don't know what F6 does, but I hit it. Stuck in turbolift on a ship with a transporter. Yep. And they had to mountain climb to the turbolift. Not even making that up. You should gel your hair up into a mohawk. I've done that in the past, but I would need a lot of gel. My hair is pretty darn long. Negotiations in Space years have gone monolithic. Oh, okay. T-Berg says, got to go back to work. All right, have a good one. STD Firefly is season 3. Schwarmer says, Entry fellow nerds, as we can see BIRDOPREY on the server, how long before he crashes? Yeah, I'm waiting to see. Come on, Bird. You know, we have the static shot of the restaurant. All of a sudden, we'll see a ship just fly in and crash into it. There are some hidden Easter eggs in Discovery, but can only really see them if you zoom in or Google for picture. I'm sure there are. But at this point, I honestly, Dan, with the way that they're treating canonical information, who cares? I mean, that's my thing. Advertisers can kiss my shiny metal ass. Yes, I'm quoting Bender. Yeah, absolutely. Darth Maul says, use Year of Hell Voyager scene where Janeway crashes into the time ship and her saying it's a year I'd like to forget, and Spock singing as a super chat. I'm working on something with Joshua right now about this new Spock. Death Dealer says, Anti-Tracker or channels like mine, absolutely. There was, let's see. There were quite a few ads on your Galaxy Quest Part 4. Well, that's the thing. They're not demonetizing yet. What they were talking about earlier was that they may be demonetizing all pop culture channels that are not shill channels in December. Wouldn't surprise me. They've openly stated that they want shill channels to get all the traffic. And that's why the viewership on the channel's down. That's why it's harder to get subscribers now, because they're basically purposely pushing traffic away from channels like mine and towards channels like Looper, or channels that are put out there by CBS directly and stuff like that. And nothing against Looper and Watch Mojo and all those. I know they're popular channels, but, you know, if that's all YouTube was, then YouTube just won't be YouTube. And quite frankly, I think it'll die as a platform. YouTube tells me I need more subscribers to make video content, and then tells me I need more video content to get the subscribers. Of course! Like owners supporting a political stance. Yeah. I've seen gun seller and 5.11 gear ads on a few videos. The Gears of War, and a few videos. What channels do views want? Let's see. What channels do views want those aids? The same ones YouTube is trying to shut down. Well, yeah, that's the funny thing. Yeah, if you see, like, a lot of these advertisers, like the advertising that should be that's more successful on platforms like YouTube is like ads for video games, ads for movies, pop culture stuff. And of course, they would want it on pop culture channels, right? Wouldn't they want a channel like mine, if you're coming here, to get an ad for the latest version of Star Trek Discovery, so that you can see the ad and say, oh, maybe Anti-Trekker's full of crap. Maybe it looks like it could work. I'm going to check it out. And I actually encourage people that, hey, you know what? If you like it, awesome. Enjoy it. Mr. Miles says, the In-N-Out Burger in my area is openly Christian. They even have Bible verses on their food wrappers, cups. Well, yes, I know about In-N-Out Burger, but they are a localized chain. In-N-Out Burger does not exist, for the most part, out of California. CDH says, agree, neither Google nor advertisers actually understand how advertising works. That is sad, but true. Demonstrators hurts aid companies as well as the channels. Demonstrates hurts aid companies as well as the channel. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that came out quite right, Wesley. You gotta help me out there, buddy. Death Dealer says, like the theory that this new girl's the daughter of Picard and the Borg Queen. Well, yeah. Which, hey, it could be worse. You know what? What if it is the daughter of Hugh and 7 of 9? Ha ha! Yeah, that'll be awesome. Romulan look like Vulcans in TOS and Star Trek V. They have the forehead bone in Enterprise, TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Nemesis, and then they have black markings in Star Trek 2009. Yeah, but you see, now the black markings in 2009 was actually explained in the comic book. Unfortunately, they didn't explain it in the film, which is that their tattoos were a traditional Romulan mourning ritual. They were mourning the loss of their people. Larry says Michelle Barrett was #1, Nurse Chapel, Computer Voice, and Troy. She actually had more parts than that, by the way. Gene Roddenberry was always very quick to put Michelle Barrett in anywhere and everywhere he could so that he could get more money. Darren says Samurai Romulan Vulcan would have been better if it was a race that was more uniquely TNG. I mentioned this in my video, shameless plug. A Ferengi, Cardassian, Bajoran, Pakled, Benzite. Yeah, I could see bringing in maybe a Bajoran or a Cardassian. I couldn't see a Pakled, Benzite, or Ferengi filling that kind of a role, because it would be hard to take one of them seriously. Thomas says, Entry, the base is out of power. Oh, no! Well, I'll try to get to it and see if I can help, but right now I'm hoping my doctor calls. Small Yoda says, what's also concerning about Picard is that once again, it looks like they're trying to copy something popular, a show about a ragtag group, Firefly, and especially The Expanse. Yep, you're 100% right. A Samurai Pakled would be great. I follow the code. Another thing I do not like about Andromeda is that in Season 5, where they were in one solar system planets the entire season, they did not go into deep space. Well, I've never seen Andromeda, so I can't speak on that, Dan. Wesley says, it's okay, you old dinosaur. We're all in the same mindset as you. Are we too old, too? Well, apparently. I've never considered the 1701 to be big enough to need a mountain climber for the turbo shafts if they stop working. Well, you were wrong, Darren. Apparently, not only a mountain climber, they need a champion mountain climber. Maybe STD/Picard needs more Joker. Joseph says, BIRDOPREY is not a train wreck. Bird is our Jeep friend. Well, it's funny because we say train wreck, but yeah, we should be saying it'd be Jeep wreck. Wesley said, don't let Bird pilot the server. It will crash. Yeah, I know. Well, I see smoke there. Oh, but that's, is that Thomas, it looks like. Thomas is flying up to the restaurant. Sorry. Bad writing is always bad writing, regardless of time or franchise. Agreed. Mr. Ross says, I'm 33, and I'm just as upset as you are about the new Treks. Am I potentially too old to get it too? I'm an early millennial. I know. Well, that's the thing. I think that, and Mecha Random, I think, hit the nail on the head. That this new stuff is produced by for people that do this all day long. So they can, oh, that's cool. Oh, wow, big explosion. Oh, look, Spock's singing. That's what it's for. It's for people with no attention span that don't give a crap about story or plot or character or acting or any of that. They just want to see cool things on the screen. Did you see Bird get a fright the day because someone super chatted in Streamlabs? He was searching the game for the source of the noise. Oh, that's funny. No, I didn't see that. Death Dealer says, I got an Easter egg for you, Enter. One of the so-called Klingon ships in Discovery is a repurposed Dominion battlecruiser. Really, CBS? You can't fool someone like me with that. Really? I never noticed that. Maybe it's because the Klingon ships just look so crap to me that I just tried not to look at them. Wesley says, just pretend to be Steve Shives for a few months, then your subs will go up. You're probably right, but I can't do that. I wish I could. I mean, I honestly, if I could just be a shill channel and, you know, start toting the CBS line and all that, and talk about how awesome Discovery is, and try and have YouTube direct traffic to me and grow my channel that way, that would be awesome. But I can't do that. I can't do that. Wesley says 5.11 is tactical gear and rugged clothing. Did not know that one. So thank you for educating me, my friend. And where now the chat just jumped on. We are old and white and even black and Asian ones, and we are male and even the girls. Yep. I feel like watching Star Trek and Doctor Who at the minute. It's like treading water, you know. Just an FYI, we're getting an In-N-Out here in Colorado Springs next year or so. Yeah, I've heard In-N-Out is trying to spread out of California finally. And I'll tell you, that In-N-Out is pretty good stuff. If you never had it, their fries are what... I love their fries. Because the way In-N-Out makes fries is they take a potato, they slice it, they throw it in the fryer. That's it. That is the way they do it. They don't sit there and freeze and, you know, they flash cook them and then freeze them and then put them in the... No. They literally take from potato to slicer to fryer. I saw, let's see, I saw the sign and I'm interested in the ship at the restaurant. How much are you asking? Actually, I'm not the one selling the ship, so I think it would probably be Thomas that you would want to reach out to in the game. Let's see, you had an advert for the new Terminator flick, Trigger. That's relevant. That's funny. That is really funny. I hate when these adverts for app games where you try not to kill yourself character on the screen. Okay. By them, I mean In-N-Out. No problem. Oh, you have them in Arizona. I got you. Yeah, the Bible verses, what they do, and I don't know about in Arizona, but at least in California, if you get like a drink from them, on the bottom of the cup, on the inside of the lip, you can see there's a Bible verse printed there. It's not like blatant and thrown out there to push it in your face, but they throw it in there, I guess, just so that people, if they want to know, yeah, this is where they stand. And people thought I was crazy when I thought that the girl from the Picard teaser was a Borg. But then again, talking about Picard too long makes me scream and no until the cops show up. I understand. Look, guys, I'm going to have to cut it off very, very soon here. My leg is really, really hurting. It's very uncomfortable to be sitting up. So I'm just going to read a few more chats. I'm sorry I didn't get to the end, but there's just nothing I can do here. Romulans are just very angry Vulcans in my view. They are Vulcans would be if they hadn't embraced logic. Well, yeah, that's the idea. The original series idea was that Romulans separated from Vulcan before the age of Surak. Look at SE. I'm pointing my guns at Bird. Well, you know, that's always a good place to point your guns, is always a bird of prey. Star Trek Discovery to get 8 seasons and 7 movies. Discovery Season 3 trailer had a Cardassian and an alien who's the same species as Morn. I heard that. I didn't notice it, but I didn't study it yet. Steve Shives has no personality and Trigger. That's what sets you apart from him. You have personality. Well, thank you, Death Dealer. Thank you. But we also have pretty much the opposite mindsets on some things. Dan says, I'm 31, I've been watching Star Trek since I was 8. Yeah. That's the thing. It's not necessarily, I think it's not necessarily the number of years someone's been alive as much as the amount of time someone's invested into Trek. And so someone who's been a Star Trek fan for a long time, someone who's watched all of prior Trek, not just little bits and pieces here and there. Someone who really understands the lore and the history of Trek. Those are the people that are offended by this stuff. And those are the people that apparently CBS does not give a crap about. As for the In-N-Out fries, well done. They stay warm longer. Darren says, the reason why In-N-Out was West Coast centric is because they only want to use ingredients within X number of miles from their restaurants. Yeah, I heard that, but I don't, you know, and I don't fault them for it, but I would love for them to be out here. Cat Slave says, I've been watching Star Trek since 1967. Well, you've been watching it about a year longer than me. Trek Viewer says, why did they not just beam number 1 and Spock out of the turbo lift? If 1701 needed a champion mountain climber, what does the D need to perform rescues? Well, actually, the way they show the interiors of these ships, I was suggesting, why don't they just fly a shuttlecraft up to the turbo lift? Because there's so much open space on the inside of the ship, you could literally fly another ship to them. But yeah, they should have just beamed them out. And let's see. Thomas Antrecker, Hector put something on your ship and problems at the restaurant. Of course there's problems at the restaurant. Of course there is. Dan says, what's your favorite non-Starfleet ship? Probably the Battlestar Galactica. Wesley says, the cup says John 3:16. Well, there you go. Well, put your feet up for a bit. My foot is actually elevated right now, but I need to get it above my chest level in order for it to work. So I'm going to have to lie down. There is one in and out in Oregon now. I've heard that they got their first one. That's awesome. JD says, wish you a quick and easy recovery. Thank you. Darren says, Steve Shives has a personality. It's just crappy. And I hear someone messing around in Space Engineers. Why did the lights go out? What the heck is going on now? Oh, okay. What is that? I have no idea. So, yeah. In Wisconsin, we don't have In-N-Out. We have Culver's, very good burger. We have Culver's down here as well. It's not bad, but it's not In-N-Out. I don't understand people who defend STD by saying that critics are racist or that it's diverse. Nothing excuses bad writing. Also, I'm 22, and I think CBS Trek is terrible TV. Well, Small Yoda, that's the thing, is that people now care more about the political message than about the quality. And that is a massive problem. Anyway, Darren says, what is your favorite Star Trek ship that is not a Starfleet ship? I would say the Klingon D7 or / Klingon Katinga. And so I like, the D7 was the origin of the design. The Katinga was the realization of it with the modern visual effects that the 70s could produce. Yeah, I think that the Klingon ships are an inspired design for the D7 / Katinga. I will say my least favorite is the Klingon Bird of Prey, not because of the design itself. I like the design itself. What I don't like is that ship ruined Klingon lore from that moment on. Of course, you guys know all about that fight. All right, guys, I do need to wrap it up. I got a lot to do today. Mr. Miles, I want you to know I'm going to lie down for probably an hour or two, and then I will reach out to you. I also got to take Mrs. Antrecker to the store to get that printer we talked about. But then I want to get in touch with you about what you and I were talking about and get things going for that video. In the meantime, guys, thank you all. Take care, and we shall mourn Star Trek together.
Thank you.